Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Fornax, and today we continue our deep dive into the story of All or Nothing with Dragonsblood. Now before we jump in, I'm putting a spoiler warning here. If you have not played through All or Nothing in its entirety, this breakdown will ruin the story for you, and that is the last thing that I want to do. So you have been duly warned. Also, these are just my opinions. I have no insider knowledge whatsoever. Even as a partnered creator, ArenaNet does not share this kind of information with oinks like me. Maybe wooden potatoes, certainly not me. And honestly, I really wouldn't want them to. I don't enjoy spoilers any more than anyone else does. So, caveats firmly in place, let's begin in proper. Dragonsblood follows on from Scion and Champion, links in the top right hand corner of the screen if you miss my in-depth lore breakdown for that. And we pick up the story from where we arrive at Thunderhead Keep. Now, location, because this location is iconic for veteran players of Prophecies, because it's here, in this sacred place, that we battled at the side of King Jalis, Iron Hammer, and his Deldrimor dwarves. It is here we battled against the xenophobic Stone Summit and their leader, Dagnar Stonepate. But it was not just bigot dwarves that we faced, but the unseen ones, the ancient spellmasters themselves, the Masat, and the infamous White Mantle fanatic Confessor Dorian. But, if that wasn't enough lore yumminess, the icing on the cake of this mission was the dramatic entrance of Vizier Kilbron, our undead saviour, at least in this encounter in the story, playing the part of Minion Master Extraordinaire. And yes, that Vizier, the one who drowned Or at the bidding of his master, the forgotten god of secrets, Abaddon, a fact that at this point in the story our player character is blissfully unaware of. Now, if you want and immerse yourself in the ancient lore of the Keep and the prophecies around it, links again in the top right hand corner of the screen to my Flameseeker Prophecy lore video. The original outpost and map were considerably less awesome than this newest, shiniest incarnation. Much love to the ArenaNet art, design and environment team. They keep knocking it out of the park every time. The old lore of the Keep aside, we discover some brand spanking new lore from our bestest stone buddy Ogden, with Timey and Goric at his side.
Do I hear singing coming from the forge?
The Zephyrite choir, an integral part of the forging process. My people built this place, but the Zephyrite and Exalted have cared for it since the days of Glint.
Hope everything still works. We've got an army to equip with Dragonsblood weapons.
Speak to the Forge Master, Helena. She'll get you started.
So the Zephyrites and the Exalted have maintained the Keep for many years, unspecified amount. And if you were paying attention whilst playing through Scion and Champion, we do get a quick glimpse of a human and a dwarf when Glint is talking about the crafting of the original Dragonsblood spear. So, for me, after this little bit of information, the question that popped straight into my head was, well, when was the Dragonsblood spear cast? You know, the one we destroyed back in Bath of Fire's Act 2, Crystalline Memories, the original one. I'm probably getting a bit ahead of myself here. More about spears later, back to the Zephyrite connection. And if you press M and open your map and pull out, you can see that Thunderhead Peaks is adjacent to the Labyrinthian Cliffs. The cliffs are one of my favourite maps in game. Sadly, the pre-events of Heart of Thorns changed the original state of the map and the NPCs, but it's still lovely today and we do get to visit it once a year. Thinking back, it seems likely that the Zephyrite society was fragmented purposefully, each group playing an individual role in Glint's grand plan. The Sky Nomads guarding the egg, always moving, always keeping themselves apart from the world. The Zephyrite at the Keep guarding the forge and the knowledge of how to craft weapons against Kraukatoric. But not completely, which is interesting. I don't know whether it's a story oversight or a flaw, or they just wanted to bring another character from the past in. Anyway, Also looking back at the story of the Zephyrite, way back before Heart of Thorns, specifically the events of Drytop and Silver Waste, I wonder, could Thunderhead Keep be a new home for those who survived that horrific attack? Now, I have had a look around the keep, trying to find NPCs with this kind of dialogue referring back to those events, but I've had no luck thus far. Let me know in the comments if you've located any. Maybe this is just wishful thinking on my part. I really appreciate lore tie-ins to unify the narrative over the different expansions. Perhaps the devs missed a trick here, perhaps I haven't hunted hard enough. Anyway, I digress. Back to the present, and at the keep we find pack soldiers, Omakai Corsairs. The keep is positively alive with activity. There is even a Fight Club style betting syndicate going on, led by the infamous gambler Kanak. Of course. Now, you will be forgiven for missing this teeny little lore nugget, as we are directed through the chaos to Helena, the exalted Forge Master. She is not the only exalted in the keep, nor is she the only exalted in Path of Fire, but I love the throwback to Heart of Thorns, although I realise Aurene is the unifying character to bridge the story gap. Anyway, this is what the Forge Master tells us.
Scion and champion. We've waited a long time for this.
Forge Master, heard you can arm us to fight an Elder Dragon.
Indeed. The Dragonsblood forge is ready, but we will need a special oil to quench the weapons, or they'll shatter. The dredge extracted on the ice floe to the southwest. I sent your friends to retrieve some, but they haven't returned.
I'll see if I can hurry them along.
And here, the episode reveals itself. This is an exploration story step, and we are sent out on a little treasure hunt for some oil. Now, any crafter will know the hell of collecting oil for weapon and armor smithing, so it's kind of cute that they include it here. NPCs suffer alongside with us. Misery loves company and all that. Now, there is some dialogue from Varia, a dredge and leader of the Refiner's Joy.
Commander, the oil vats are sealed with brand crystals. And even if they weren't, Varia here seems disinclined to share.
We lost half our people to the brand, our rigs too. And now you want what little oil we have left?
We want the same thing, Varia. One less Kralkatorrik in the world.
The dredge bear great enmity towards dwarven kind, justifiably so, as they were at one time enslaved by the Stone Summit dwarves. Even after hundreds of years, the scars of slavery and its horrific impact on their society are clear to see. So if Varia and most dredge seem fairly hostile, there is a very deep narrative reason for it.
I could crack the brand crystals off your vats and equipment. Would that make you feel a bit more generous?
It might.
This fetch quest is thankfully short, and really a moment to practice and utilize that special action button for players who are not used to it. Now, once we have aided Varia, this happens.
Commander, once you've got oil, we'll need a new weapon mold. Forge Master Helena says the old one cracked. She suggests we talk to the dwarves. Robon's around, but he's just ahead, so here's Ogden.
What do I... Hello?
Ogden, we need a new mold for casting the weapons. Any ideas?
There's Fornax Steelstar. Never met him, but the Dragonsblood spear was his pride and joy. He'd know.
Sounds like just the dwarf. Where can I find him?
Well, he's dead. But that never stopped you before. Might be a clue in his tomb. Have a look, and take notes for me.
So this is the part of the story where we meet Fornax Steelstar, deep in the bowels of the ruins of the keep.
So you're saying there's another mold in there I can take?
You bet your dragon-killing boots. Here, take this plate. You'll need it to get inside.
He directs us to his tomb and a second casting mold. So for anyone out of the loop, the vast majority of dwarven peoples underwent the rite of the Great Dwarf and turned to stone over 250 years ago, descending into the deeps to face Primordus and his minions. So what is Fornax's story? Well, he is an original character from Prophecies, although in the lineup of characters, Fornax would be considered an extra. If you want to see his first iteration, head to the Southern Shiver Peaks and Droknar's Forge, so we can confirm that he was a member of the Brotherhood of the Dragon, a band of dwarves who dedicated themselves to Glint and her legacy. And I wonder, did he undergo the rite of the Great Dwarf and become stone like Ogden? And if not, when and how did he die? His spirit is in the keep. We see him in the vision in Glint's lair, and he didn't look stone then. He's a quite confusing character, and I also wonder where Glint got the blood to cast the original spear from in the first place. I want a timeline, please. Please let me know if I've missed something in the comments. Anyway, we cast the first of the new Dragonsblood weapons with Aureen's help, and I'm not sure if it's a bug for me or my system or whatever, but I didn't see anything in the forge, which was really underwhelming. I hope that was just me. Let me know if it was the same for you in the comments. I would love for them to actually put a physical spear there so that we can have some visual confirmation of the efforts that we put in so far. The last stage of this process is testing the spear, which can be done on any branded creature in the map. Now, as you're progressing through testing, there are a few lines of dialogue, which I'll insert here.
Anyone seen Zephyrite?
Not since we got here.
Said she had something important to do.
Okay, let me know when she gets back.
Timmy, you there?
No, you rest. What is it?
Gorick? Is everything okay?
Everything's fine.
Well, we are seeing ghosts appear for no obvious reason, but they're not hostile, so technically, yes, strange, but fine.
Huh. Well, I tested the new spears. Not as powerful as the original, but they'll do if we make enough for everyone.
I'll check with the Forge Master and run the numbers.
We're on it!
So what's going on with Zephyrite? Well, that becomes apparent in the next installments. But in terms of story weight, it's the ghosts that lead us into the next story step. And once you arrive back at the keep, Dragon's Blood concludes. So, what are my thoughts? Dragon's Blood is kind of the calm before the storm. The lull in action before the movie ramps up to the grand finale. It gives players an opportunity to explore the new map, the keep, and more or less catch their breath after the revelations of Scion and Champion. It also gives us some sweet moments with Timmy, and we see her gradual decline and deepening friendship with Gorick. I love the keep. Of course, it's brilliant, but I think it's cruel of the devs to hide so many books there and not let us inspect or interact with any of them. Also, when I'm talking about books, when am I getting my personal library, please? My bank is busting at the seams with books now. This needs to be remedied very soon. Anyway, Thunderhead Peaks are big and beautiful. It's a gigantic map in terms of Living World story editions. It's brilliant. And I will be happily exploring it for weeks to come. The new map Mastery Bond of Faith is actually very useful for getting a little bit of much needed height for those hard-to-reach achievements, and synergizes brilliantly with the Griffin's Soaring Rescue Mastery. Very good, very fun, I enjoy using it. Guild Wars 2 mounts are without doubt or hesitation the best mount system that I have ever encountered. It is the most fun I have ever had just moving through the game environment, and they are beautiful too, from their base skins to the glowing works of art on the gem store. So thank you very much, dev team. They are a joy, all of them. Now, the only thing I really want from this episode is more. I have questions. For example, if the Zephyrite have been maintaining the keep, why the heck is it so run down? It's not even that old. What is it, like 500 years old? Tops. I mean, I know that I'm British and we might have an odd idea about old things, but guys, poor maintenance. Also, considering that this place has been continuously occupied, it doesn't feel lived in at all. If the Zephyrites have been here for literally generations, where are the schools? Where are their homes? Where are the meeting places? Where is their influence on this place? I don't see any. That doesn't make sense. And also, there's no indication of what happened to the Brotherhood of the Dragon. What happened to Frodark? When was the original spear cast? How was the original spear cast? Why don't the Zephyrite know how to cast the weapon? Or make the molds after all this time? There's lots of little things that just... There's so many like loose ends and half-finished narratives in this little story step. It just leaves me wanting more. And I guess that's the idea for episodic stories, to leave you wanting more. But I think it would have been nice for us to be able to hunt around the keep to find answers to some of these, very basic questions. And it makes me worry for the grand scale of the narrative, this sweeping epic, that these smaller, vital details might seem trivial in the grand scheme of the yarn, but this is the kind of underlying structure, the foundation, the honeycomb that holds up those higher ideals and the higher story. If you undermine the base and foundation of your story, the peaks get a bit wobbly. That's my thinking. Anyway, let me know your best and worst moments in Dragonsblood and what I have missed. I'm sure there's a whole hell of a lot that I have. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share and show some love to Molani, Hain, Christopher Martin, Carb, Jolly Joestar, Ada, Sir Azu, Dark Griever and all my wondrous patrons, without whom I would be unable to dedicate the time and resources I do to my content creation. I can never thank them enough. And after all this lore goodness, if you feel inspired and want to jump into Path of Fire or any of the previous iterations of Guild Wars 2, there are referral links below, thanks to the generosity of ArenaNet and their partner program, of whom I am a proud affiliate. Using any of these referral links directly supports my channel. Now I hope you will join me next time as we break down the Crystal Blooms in all its luscious lore loveliness. But until then, as always, thanks for watching.